Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, we had a great run last time, but that's no guarantee we're going to have a great run this time. Although we got some defense. You love to see that. H8BFDLJR. There's things to like and there's things to not like. Rate of fire and damage are pretty bad. Having a Guppy item is good. It being Guppy's paw is good, but only once for now. Our stats are, well, let's just put it more simply. Our stats are bad, our items are okay. Like, even Robo Baby No 0.0 is solid. When your damage is not great, this is the kind of item that you look to as, like, it helps you get there. This room is like, one time that ruined a streak. From that point onwards, I now know what I want to do with that item every time I see it. Do you explode? Do you kick out a bomb when you die? You don't. Okay, so we'll just blow this up then. And that's been happening with much more regularity lately. Remember the days when you blew up a spirit or a tinted rock, the odds of it being a spirit heart or two were like, you know, 90%? Those were the days, brother. Anyway, I'm not complaining. We've been having a good run, and this is actually a fair... Oh, you son of a gun. This is actually a fairly well-balanced Eden start. And if we gotta use Guppy's Paw, it's quite simple. If we gotta use Guppy's Paw, we use it, you know? You gotta use every tool in the toolbox sometimes to get where you need to go in this game. What a shot, though. Our shot speed must be out of control. Lots of red hearts. Really, the dream... No, okay, we're using it. The dream right now, no hesitation on that one, is that we get Dark Bum. So many red hearts. I mean, we're not going to get Dark Bum on this floor, but to get Dark Bum, you know, on our deal with the devil early, or, you know, maybe we can get a deal with the devil via a Joker card or something like that, it would go a long, long way. Oh, I believed. I believed fully in that one. I'm not too nervous right now, to be honest. This run definitely is unstable, and if it continues to... I mean, we haven't even seen... We've only seen one item so far, so we can't really get too bent out of shape. But if it continues to be unstable, there's real risk. As of right now, though, 3 Spirit Hearts is kind of like just a normal Eden start. So there's no real reason to fear. I'm a little like substantially disappointed that out of this entire floor we got 75 red hearts, but when we blew up our tinted rock, we got a chest we can't even open because we didn't get a single key. But, you know, play the stinger. Ba-doom, bam, bam, ba-dum, boom. That's Isaac! Okay, we gotta work on that one. It's not hooky enough. Ba-doom, bam, bam. That's Isaac! Why does it sound like a children's television show? That's Isaac. Now it sounds... I don't even know what that sounds like. Black Snake Moan or something. Anyway, we're going to get an orbital. An orbital's great. We are going to not be able to open that golden chest, which is stinky, and we're not going to get a bomb to open our other tinted rock, which is also stinky, but it happens. It happens. Now the question is, what do you do now that it's happened to make sure you're still safe? I would say right now, this is probably a run where we look to our deal with the devil and say, you know, it's unlikely... It's extremely likely we're going to get it, because we're rolling exclusively on Spirit Hearts right now. But it's unlikely we're going to take it. And the hardest struggle for, like, the next floor, in my world, is going to be not using our orbital to deal damage, because our HP is so dangerously low right now. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of floor that just leaves a bit of a sour taste in your mouth, unfortunately. But we'll be moving onwards regardless. Gotta be careful here. I think if you go fast, usually you're safe. And then honestly, you knew what was gonna happen. You knew they were gonna give you a key immediately. That's just how it goes, you know? But it's all okay. We got a lot to access here. You know, we got a boss trap room. We got a curse room where we already have a guppy item, which is fantastic. Now we got a full suite of consumables we could possibly do something with. If you can leave this room in the right timing, you might... You pushed me out! Well, we don't really have to go back that way, but it's kind of like the principle of the matter. That we'd have to go back in and fight, but I will also admit, that's hilarious. That's real funny. It shouldn't influence my decision, because it's a pretty easy room. Oh my god, the battery charges, dude. I think we've seen like 6 battery charges. All we need, just a library with Book of Revelations, and this run is already over. Or Satanic Bible, or probably Book of the Dead. Come on, dude. You can't weather the storm. We're bringing the heat. Well, for now, it's been an uneventful floor. There's nothing to fear. Not even fear itself. I appreciate my orbital putting in the heavy block for me there. The one thing, and I think this is dangerous, but it's also part of doing the little things right. We should get the item from the item room before we go to the shop. Or let me rephrase. We should get the item from the item room before we go to the boss. And we should check out the shop before we go to the boss too. We'll probably check out the shop before we check out the item room, just due to, you know... I mean, if you haven't read the fundamentals of Isaac play, then I guess I can be bothered to explain. In a situation on the second floor, where you only have one key, typically you would rather go to the shop, and then at least you'll be able to see things, but also have the ability to purchase a key, and then you can use this key to go to the item room, thereby allowing you to experience both. But we don't have any extra spirit hearts. So Chemical Peel is a much needed damage boost, even though it's not amazing. We'd really like to get more spirit hearts, but find ourselves bereft. However, I think it's worth taking a stab at this, and that sucked. And I still think it's worth taking a stab at this. We weren't even looking for the quarter, just some loose change, dude, would have been enough. But here we are, you know? It's kind of a landmark moment for this run, what we're approaching right here. We'd really love to see Pin. We'd love to see Larry Jr. That was a blessed room. We'd love to not see Haunts. We'd love to not see Ragman. Little Horn is like kind of somewhere in the middle. Occasionally we'll get a little tagged by, you know, one of the shots coming out here. You know, that was a pretty good example. Sometimes you can kind of like deflect it right into you. But we should be relatively safe here. And don't let this fool you. Because what I'm about to say is not that it's okay to take damage on this fight, because we really should be pretty much perfect here. But really, like, it's not like taking damage is going to change our ability to take a deal with the devil. You know, we're already at the max cost. So really, if anything, taking damage, all it can do is well, it doesn't change anything, because we're only going to be able to take items in the first place that give us HP in return. So alright, that's actually really good. Now we have a good rate of fire and a bone heart protecting us. I'm growing up, you know? I really just don't think we can do it. Even if this now puts us in a position... I mean, there's so many plays there, you know? It's making my head spin just thinking about it. You could take both of them and hope that... well, I don't actually know if you could take both of them now that I think about it. But you could, if you could take both of them, you would just hope that Guppy's collar respawned you. I did try to use Guppy's paw there, by the way, to see if I could finesse it a little bit, but it obviously didn't work. you could take one of the items and then try to live on a bone heart, which is really like a seductive choice because a bone heart is really strong. But if you have like 2 mediocre rooms in a row, all of a sudden you're in the business. You know what I mean? But I took the third path, and the third path was trust in yourself to get out of this mess and take nothing. And I think, honestly, win, lose, or draw on this run, that's character development. Me, a couple of months ago, or, well, at this point, we're probably talking like 6 months ago because of how much we've won recently, but me 6 months ago takes at least one of those. Probably Guppy's head. We'll hold it at least. Me now, not so much. Okay, you know, you knew there was a chance it was going to happen. It was a good time for us to try the pill at least. And then I really still believe we go into this shop here and we buy a spirit heart. And then if we get the chance, and I'll blow this up just to see if we get something awesome out of it. You know, we could have gotten money out of it. I think if we have the chance, now we could probably pick up Guppy's head. To be honest, we could really use the offense, and we've got a little bit more protection. But if the deal with the devil is closed, I will sleep soundly tonight, win, lose, or draw, thinking that I made the right decision. And it is closed. Okay, that's fine. It's slightly painful, but that's the theme of this run right now, is like, you can't always get what you want. You know, we wanted a lot on the first floor, and, you know, the consumables just didn't have it in them to give it to us. So we, especially given that this is flooded caves, we will probably struggle for a bit. This is one of those runs where I look at it and I'm like, we're on the 3rd floor, 11 minutes in. We got some positives. Getting divorce papers was good for us, for sure, to get our rate of fire to a level of reasonability. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm supposed to be on Check the Wire in 50 minutes. I'm still optimistic that's very makeable. But things can change, not rapidly, actually, quite the opposite. Things can change slowly in this game. So, just keep an eye on it. But there's no rush. There's no rush job being put in on this one. Getting a lot of consumable drops now, and I'm very happy to see it. This is really just a situation where we're going to... I mean, I hope at this point you believe me and I don't have to defend myself. We don't make perfect plays, you know? I look at the Isaac comments. There's a lot of comments that are like, Pogs are raining down from the sky. I love it. There's a lot of comments that are like, you know, thank you for making this video. I found it very entertaining. Love it. And then there's comments that are like, here's where you could have improved upon your play in this moment. And honestly, I like those as well. I don't always like the way they're phrased, but by reading those comments, I think over time, you know, you can't help but become a better player. So I know I'm not a perfect Isaac player, but I think that if I can condemn myself, not defend, but condemn, old me was guilty of knowing the steps to take to play decently and not always doing it. New me knows the steps and recognizes that sometimes the steps may even be a little frustrating. They may take a little bit more time, but does it anyway because it's the right thing to do to take some pride in your performance here. That's the sea change that we've gone through. That is really bad. That was just a horrible place to be, and we got pretty lucky to not get penalized. Alright. Now this would be a great time for this item room to give me a big leg up. It's not bad. And actually, now I can go to the shop, and you're just hoping to get a donation machine, which did not happen. But if we live long enough to go to the next floor, the shop on the next floor, I should say, a donation machine there is definitely, like, reasonably likely. Most of the time, we prefer a reroll machine, so, you know, I'm not actually upset about this. Okay. Good work. Use these bombs sparingly, though. You know, oftentimes I will not use my bombs. Or I'll use all my bombs too quickly, I should say. The opposite. Because I expect to be saved by something. This time, and it's come back to bite us occasionally. This time, I'm like, every single one of these bombs is like... Imagine you only had 6 bullets in Call of Duty, you know? You gotta save those bullets for a time when they are most relevant. And this has been a very good and tactical fight. I feel very good about this. I feel horrible about the item we got, but... we don't even have any duplicates. Retrovision. I can see forever. Luck up. Bad trip. Bad trip is a pretty terrible get there. And come on. Lemon party, okay. Well, that sucked. Get me out of here. Take me down to the next floor. Hello, Ruka. Hello, my son. We can pet you a little bit. It's not like we're gonna be, Oh no, we were gonna get to boss rush, but now we can't. So I would like to get this stuff in there, but it's like... Impossible is maybe not the right word with our current setup, but I think we would for sure get hit by Bomber Boy. So, the battery charges, dude. This run is like... And you can hear the tilt starting to rise. It's good to recognize it. One of the things, you know, in a PvE video game, I think there's like a light lesson for life in here. I don't think this is like universally true, but, you know, sometimes is okay, or let me rephrase. Sometimes it's justifiable to get mad. However, does being mad benefit you or hurt you? I would argue most of the time, when you're mad, at least in a video game in this situation, it hurts you, you know? You play worse, you're more entitled, you're like, oh, I got a B tier item, but I should have gotten an S tier item, this is ridiculous. I think you start playing a little bit more emotionally and making some mistakes. Okay, cluster bombs is, again, we got a bomb synergy, but it's very dangerous. But I'm gonna stick with it because these bombs could maybe kill, like, bosses in 1 or 2 bombs, and hopefully we'll just be able to weather the storm on the other side of the room. But, you know, I think that staying calm and rational and recognizing that, you know, perhaps you have reason to be angry or annoyed and you're in the right, but maybe this isn't the battle you want to take. No greed, no greed. Let's go. Okay, so 1 bomb is going to do a lot for us right here. And, for certain, you want to get Diplopia here. You might want to Diplopia the shop. I have to come to a conclusion here. The thing is, we could buy the Spirit Heart. The reason I didn't buy the Spirit Heart is because if we buy it, it's gone. If we Diplopia it, we can get 2. But definitely, like, Diplopaing the deal with the devil is more tempting. So let's go there, and I'll even take this just to see. Okay, we got some interesting situations at hand here. If I could just... Heavy waste of our bombs. This is gonna get you. It's gonna hurt you slightly, is what I meant to say. There we go. Now, that was not a few bombs. It was more than I would have liked. I guess it was literally a few. That was like 3, right? Deal with the devil, please. Yes. No Krampus. No Krampus. Okay. This is now very, very, very good. So you can get double brimstone. Sinvicta did recommend double brimstone. But I think you just take your 1 brimstone. And acknowledge that that's, like, it's a beautiful place for us to be right now. And we'll take a range upgrade that's worth nothing, clearly. And all of a sudden, I think we deserve a lot of credit. I'm not afraid to call for it. I think we deserve a lot of credit here. The run is not necessarily won yet, but it's definitely... I mean, it's one of the best items you ever could have asked for. And we did really well. We took, like, almost no damage on the way here. Okay. But especially with an XL floor, things are going to start to move mighty fast. And it is fair to say our damage stat is still pretty terrible. We're charging shots up real quick. Oh, my. Just doesn't work. Okay. We're charging shots up real quick, but, you know, we may want to recognize that on tankier enemies, bombs are going to be our friend. I think you just take the miter and then blow up the tinted rock. It's Spirit Hearts. Why would you rush in there? Because it's muscle memory. Okay, fair enough. We will go to the shop as well because, again, all we need is a donation machine to make it worth our while. But yeah, you know, I feel that a lot. You know, there's situations where, I don't know. I feel like we've done ourselves a disservice sometimes. Especially online, I think we complain about, you know, every minor thing. And then if someone's like, hey, you're in the right position to complain, but is this really a battle that you should be fighting? And you're like, oh, so just Red Robin said they had bottomless fries, but then they cut me off, and I'm supposed to just lay down and take it? You know, this is exactly the attitude that led to the rise of the Third Reich, and blah, you know, people get kind of like a little bit absurd over it, in my opinion. There's battles worth fighting, for sure. There's more battles worth fighting than battles I fight. But I'm also, you know, I think that sometimes recognizing that you've been slighted, but being like, you know what, is it worth, I mean, it's worth pointing out, but is it worth fighting, you know, a war over this slight? Many people listening to this will be like, the answer is yes. I refuse to be pushed around. I will always speak my mind, blah, blah, blah. And I think at this point I would just chalk it up to like a difference in personality. I'm like the exact opposite. If I'm severely wronged or repeatedly wronged by, you know, in a situation that's like, you know, like if Malf started calling me like big gulps or something like that and it annoyed me, I would talk to him behind the scenes and I'd be like, hey dude, I know you probably don't mean anything weird by it, but can you stop calling me big gulps? I don't even understand. Like, I think I've probably had like 3 big gulps in my whole life. Just a weird nickname and I don't really like it. You know, I would talk to him. But, you know, sometimes oh, why would you stand there? Sometimes I think about like, you know, people will like whoa! People will be like wronged by a restaurant and make it like their life's crusade. The popcorn shrimp said it came with 8 popcorn shrimp. There were 8 discrete pieces of popcorn shrimp in my popcorn shrimp order. However, one of the pieces could not be described honestly and in good faith as a full shrimp. It was merely a shrimp nugget. Not more than the length of 2 centimeters. Can I tell you something? And now that we got Brimstone Polyphemus, our rate of fire is kind of bad, but I'm not complaining. Admittedly, not complaining. All I'm going to say is it gives us time to start to talk to one another. Can I tell you something amazing? This thought amazes me at least once a month. I think about this. I have probably ordered... Like, I'm a creature of habit. I order the same thing every time I'm at McDonald's. It's well, that's not true. Sometimes I order the chicken Caesar salad, but during the COVID stuff, they've, like, not had any real food. They've only had the fake foods. So every time I go to McDonald's, which is not that frequently, but... Well, and that's also not true, because if I'm there for breakfast, I'll get, you know, a sausage and egg McMuffin. But most of the time I'm at McDonald's... Well, no, I'm just messing with you. Most of the time I'm at McDonald's... I get a 10-piece chicken McNugget permutation. You know, sometimes I just get the nuggets. Sometimes I get the meal, but that's the base of the order. There have been times in my life where I have gotten more than 10 nuggets. I've counted them up and been like, you know what? Because I count them up. I do a nugget audit when I, you know, get the nuggets. Not like I'm ever going to take them back in, but I have gotten 11 nuggets before, perhaps even 12. I have never received less than 10 nuggets. That's just with respect to human error. Then don't get me wrong, I've had mistakes at McDonald's, you know? You know, especially like sometimes if I send, or if my wife sends me to McDonald's to get her order, she's like, I want sweet and sour sauce and hot mustard. And I look in the bag, like halfway home. Should have done it there, I know. There's just like no dipping sauces, you know? It's a sincere bummer. But I have never been ripped off from the nugget standpoint. I'm sure that some people watching this are like, I ordered 10 and I've gotten 9 before. But sincerely, it's never happened to me to the best of my knowledge, which is incredible. I've probably ordered the meal like 200 times in my life. And I'm embarrassed to admit that, but I'm like, you know what? 10 times a year for 20 years, assuming I started eating 10, I graduated from the 4-piece or the 6-piece to the 10-piece at age 11. I think it's reasonable. Well, maybe it's a little bit less than 200, but I bet I eat chicken McNuggets once every 4 to 6 weeks right now. And by the way, some people are going to be like, that's too much. And some people are going to be like, wow, that's pretty low. The first camp is definitely right. You know, that is too much. You probably shouldn't eat them ever. But shouldn't is like it's a wild statement. You know, I'm not going to defend like, oh, well, yeah. Because this is like how the defense of like bad things, like all vices happens. Oh, I guess we should all just live on a farm and go live in a convent and never eat anything except Soylent ever again. That's not really what I mean. Like, I think you can eat them now and then and still maintain healthiness. But on like a strictly objective scientific level, yes, you should probably never eat them. Would be my. I bet that's the objective case. Do they sometimes have a psychological benefit to their consumption? I think they can have a psychological benefit or a psychological penalty, quite frankly. I think we do benefit enough from this, or will we be penalized? I don't know. This run really came together. I'm very happy. But you know, because I've been thinking about this. I've been asking chat questions on parenting. Now, I want to be clear. You might say that's stupid. I'm just asking the questions. I'm not going, well, I'm going to raise my child in accordance to what Twitch chat thinks. Moreover, I actually think that my Twitch chat has reasonable opinions from time to time. You know, some people are like, just feed it butter. But most people, I think, they speak in good faith and they give suggestions that even if I disagree with, are made in good faith. You know, they say like, well, this is what it was like when I grew up. Because, you know, I'm an only child. I can only speak to... Like, I have a distortion of parenthood, and I think we all do naturally, based on our own parents. I was an only child, which not only means that I have no siblings to gauge how they were parented, but I also have no siblings who have kids to talk to about how they parent their kids. And I was also parented, you know, predominantly in the 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, I guess on a literal level, I'm still parented now, but you know what I mean. You know, norms have changed over that time for sure. So, you know, I don't know what things are like. When I was a kid, definitely, like, people were bringing sodas to school in, like, 4th grade. There were, like, 9 and 10-year-olds pulling out, like, a can of Pepsi at school. Nowadays, it's like, why don't you just send them with, like, hard drugs? I'm not saying a soda is as bad as hard drugs. I'm just saying, like, I think if, you know, if we had, like, a play date and, you know, our daughter was 8 and one of her friends rolled up with, like, a 2-liter of orange soda or something like that, I would be like, honey, are you okay? Do you want some water? Like, it's just... Because, so, the genesis for this is this question that I've been asking, which is, like, at what age do you give your kids soda? And I really think, like, part of the answer is never. Like, I think it's better just to not drink it, but I'm also cognizant of the fact that, again, based on my bubble of growing up, I think if you send your kid to school and, you know, they're... Oh, come on. They're at, you know, lunch, and one of the kids pulls out, like, a Pepsi, and your kid is like, what the heck is that? You know, you're setting your kid up to be kind of like... I don't want to say ostracized, because it sounds like that's almost like a justification, but you're setting your child up to be sort of like in the out group. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I do live in Vancouver, so it's possible, like, you know, if you have water, some of the kids might be like, oh, your mom gave you water? She didn't even put any acai berries in it? She didn't even give you a quinoa detoxifying bowl for lunch. You just got like you've got a bento. Anyway, what am I talking about? I don't know. It's just parenting stuff. You know how it is. Well, you know, maybe not. I don't know how it is either, though. So, here's my thought about. I don't really agree with the phrase "everything in moderation, including moderation." And again, I'm not a nutritionist, but I really think the phrase "everything in moderation, including moderation" is predominantly used by people who are not really practicing moderation most of the time. These are people that are like, you know, probably drinking too much, and then if somebody goes like, hey, maybe you should cut down a little bit, they're like, yeah, well, maybe I should just live as a pilgrim, and maybe I should just go live in the mountains, you know? Everything in moderation, including moderation. I think it's more like, save some harmful things for now and then. You know, that's not as snappy as everything in moderation, including moderation, but... By the way, in case you're wondering of the analysis of that idiom, I know people like this sort of bit sometimes. Everything in moderation, including moderation. Let's break it down. Everything in moderation, the first part of that idiom, means don't go overboard on too many things, but also, or don't go overboard on anything, I should say, but also, you can have a little bit of everything, you know? Maybe you like whiskey, you know whiskey's not good for you, but you can have some in moderation. I don't think it's necessarily a harmful attitude there. But then the second part, including moderation, means you should even use moderation only in moderation. Which everybody takes to mean sometimes I should go all out and just, you know, pig out. But could also mean sometimes I should really just abstain, but nobody ever talks about that side, except me because I'm boring. Anyway, I really don't like that expression. Here's the way I think of it, you know? Like, soda's bad for you. Full stop. I drink diet sodas on occasion. Even diet sodas are bad for you. Or not as good for you as some other things that you could be drinking. I refuse to submit to the argument like, yeah, but what's it worth to enjoy yourself in life? I think you can enjoy yourself drinking a glass of water, but I still drink diet soda from time to time. I just never buy it at the grocery store. I really feel like the grocery store is your battleground in that situation, you know? Provided you eat and drink at home predominantly. So what I say is, you know, we might eat out. I mean, never in COVID, but like we might order in 2 times a week, sometimes even 3 times a week if things are really busy. I know that's probably above the norm. Maybe not for streamers though. And you know, sometimes if I'm ordering in, I'll say, you know what, I'll take a can of Coke Zero or something like that. But what I will never do, because I know I would go overboard with it, is buy like a 12-pack of Coke Zero at the store. I think as long as you know you limit your access to the things that you go overboard on, that's the step. So maybe where I'm thinking about this one is like, you know, she can have a soda when she's like 10. We're not going to keep soda in the house, but if she goes to like a friend's birthday party, I'm not going to be like, and if somebody offers you soda, what do you say? No, get away, Satan. You know, that's just you setting them up for trouble. Anyway, keep in mind, I grew up in an era where like my parents are great parents, but nutritional wisdom was not as widespread or well known as it is today. My parents were like, you shouldn't be drinking a lot of soda, it's bad for you. Instead, just drink like 8 glasses of orange juice a day. They've come around too. They're in amazing shape, especially like for their ages. But, you know, back when they were busier, you know, with the parenting of me, which is mostly hands off. I just spent a lot of time on the internet. But, you know, they were like, yeah, you know, juice is good for you. It's made from fruits. But soda, Anyway. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. I'm going to assume you enjoyed it. You watched all 34 minutes and 13 seconds up to this point. It's the single best way, especially as a long-term viewer, you can help make sure we get a little algorithmic injection in the series, get new people that'll come around and keep the community healthy. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. See ya!